The zombie T-Rex is back, undid swag with that old school rap. Cause it's Curtis Blow with that nerdist flow, getting pterodactyl fly on the track. 4 records deep, 5 EPs, 1 mixtape, cause you can't kill me. Poison when I spit it, Komodo dragon, nerdcore royalty, Kimono dragon. Sesko Badalian loquaciousness, no rapper ever born did a rhyme like this. MC Lars with the rhythmic alacrity, oratory skills causing mad catastrophe. The whole crew sick, like Kubrick, got your eyes wide shut for this apocalypse. Let's face it, I'm an awesome rapper, post-punk laptop velociraptor. No, I won't dumb it down for the mainstream fan, cause the mainstream fan has lame taste, man. Yeah, I said it. And I'm flying over hurdles, keep it underground like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. See a funny thing happen on my way to the stage, waylaid by a stegosaurus snacking on my leg. When I made my escape, it was way too late. Got that T-virus strain all up in my veins, bringing pain like the Necronomicon. Iguanagon loose up at Comic-Con, tearing up your lawn like a Moplodon. Take away your girl like I was Donkey Kong. Jurassic Park this van in your city every time I rock a show. Cause the fans all bounce when I light up the room with that pyroclastic flow. Yo! No mercy, no surrender. Zombie T-Rex, I'm killing it forever. No mercy, no surrender. Zombie T-Rex, I'm killing it forever. No mercy, no surrender. Zombie T-Rex, I'm killing it forever. No mercy, no surrender. Zombie T-Rex, I'm killing it forever. Cause I'll make that smart music, that hard DIY from the heart music, that Lars, he came to straight rocket music, that burning down your local hot topic music, that KRS-One on my album music, that of course you know I've read up on Malcolm music, that PMA all day music, that guy who gave you K-Flay music, that R.I.P. Pat Wood music, that only wanna do a bit of good music, that got here on my own music, that hey it's Weird Al on my phone music, that lit hop Edgar Allan Poe music, that show your English teacher how to flow music, that TED Talk read a book music, that look at Scissor Crack on the hook music, like no mercy, no surrender. Zombie T-Rex, I'm killing it forever. No mercy, no surrender. Zombie T-Rex, I'm killing it forever. No mercy, no surrender. Zombie T-Rex, I'm killing it forever. No mercy, no surrender. Zombie T-Rex, I'm killing it forever.
Our top story tonight, a herd of zombie dinosaurs is loose in San Francisco, causing more damage and destruction than the city has ever seen. We go now live to the Golden Gate Bridge, where a zombie Tyrannosaurus Rex is currently ripping apart the suspension cables and pushing cars into the bay. Coming up after the break, San Francisco has already seen its local coffee markets impacted by these zombie dinosaurs, what these developments mean for your organic Arabica, and then enterprising young people are bringing gentrification to dinosaur caves and dens. We find the city's best apocalyptic food trucks, and finally, an Oxford study finds that white kids are still not hyphy. What can you do to help? We'll cover it after the break.
Good morning. Whatever it is, wherever you are. I didn't get any performance data last week. You know what? I guess I could. Well, I could poke into the ordering difference. I should take a note to do that. Object ID changes, but I mean, actually, there was one thing I could look. There's some specific patches that are going to be responsible for that. Okay, cached height. Changed writing next number. New map size. Doesn't seem like that would change order. This could have changed some stuff. Kerning calculations? Oh, this is only adding a note. He didn't, Oh, this was probably minor gems. I don't think paging would have affected it. It's only picker. Rounding errors. The crash I was seeing was not last member of family. Yeah, neither of these seem like they'd change object ordering, but you'd have to you'd actually have to like be running different versions to debug that, I think. Anyway, thing that's bothering me on a more regular basis is the kind of jerky camera. And this is awkward. Because I've been trying to do the pointer moves at the point we get the delta in the hopes that it minimizes anything lost due to the reset. So one of the things I want to know is, where do pointer movements come in? Relative to where we're doing other screen calculations. Which side of the update cycle are we on? So we've got pointer move. And what is the... There we go. Which is effectively step. And the thing that... I guess... So that's R for sync. Ooh. Oh. Well, all right, we can test this and then throw it out and change. Guess I'm all on the wrong patch. But this is not stuff we need to keep long term. No. Oh, that's right. This already had the dot for every frame. Where's step? Okay, I guess we weren't ready for stepping for a little bit there. Is that the end of draw? Ah. So that is in fact right after my draw thing. So we already kind of had that. So draw is right around where the big pause happens. So pointer move seems to happen in a similar time step to step, which is pretty much what we want. What? I've been getting those little git errors lately. All right, so we've got that. And we want to see if we can smooth it out a little bit. So right now, if free camera, okay, that's changing the bounds. All right, so that's effectively what's restricting how far we go. If moving, right, so the normal follow is our target object outside of our View target area? There should move camera, there's free camera, which overrides the center. So we move the screen center, and then reposition to this, get the, yeah, screen center move. So I kind of need to track something different. So we've got a screen center. The mouse moves some distance. Got an arrow. I guess this could have been bigger. We want to move the screen center partway there and sort of approach it. Continue approaching it if it stops moving. And this is probably even more so for immediately when turning the mode on. You'd more want a jump to cursor than a... Not a jump to cursor so much, a pan to cursor than a jump to cursor. Which I think is what we currently have. Oh. And at that, it's only jump to cursor when you move. So keep a concept of where the pointer is, which might be... Maybe we could do some reuse of pointer location. So what we have to do is we have to move the center towards the pointer, and the pointer towards, and then counter move the effectively move the pointer so that it stays in the same place in the world. Now, I got a delta here, right? In X. But that is specifically relative to the center. So I'm going to have to track some sort of like last pointer position. Because I think this is giving me get mouse screen position. Wait, last mouse. This is probably so that when something else uses it, it's the you call it from some random place. It's the actually the last position. But you know, the most recent. So I think these are in like world coordinates. So I might. I can sort of put a drag and do that. I might be able to get in here, and we'd already have a last mouse. It may be better to keep that myself. So I'm going to have I'm going to be concerned about a different delta. We need delta whale. I know how that interacts with the warp. So if we do a delta from the previous last mouse, I think I might actually want to keep one in just pointer move. So I'm using the fact that we've got the center to detect our movement. So we would need from our last known... Okay, a pointer move is moving to center, so that would be movement sense, the last pointer move. We would need to keep the... last known position, we would get the new position. So in world coordinates, the mouse is going to be not moving. It's the on-screen version that's an issue. So in camera movement, when we move, screen view center, screen center player offset. It would make a corresponding change in which we've already got this, right? Last screen mouse X. So I wonder if we could just do that. And it wouldn't do the smoothing, but it might kind of give us a piece of it. But I'm using the delta from center right now, so we kind of have some other things to solve. So this would be plus. Oh, I guess I shouldn't be modifying these directly. It should be more like... Well, maybe this is minus, because we're kind of moving it back. It feels like it should be opposite of that. Okay, that's some very, very wrong units there. Can you even do that? Of course, if it was the sign was wrong, it would probably kind of explode itself. Okay, so that... we can't even warp to the point it was at. So, what the heck are you doing? Okay, so these are global, these are ints. Well, no, it might be feedback with this. So last screen view center in X and Y. I need like a last pointer position. Oh, you're an extern, are you? I wonder if you're minor gems. Hey, there's your last mouse X, but those get updated from all over the place. So I need to do this. Well, we've already got in X and Y. No, I need to do this after. After all of this. This is actually last. Or after I do the delta stuff. Okay, so that moves the center by that. Now this movement becomes problematic. This might have failed. I'm only moving by the movement. Okay, no, we still got some kind of feedback going on. Maybe it's screen edges that catch it. This is at this point exactly where it is. But now I'm calculating my deltas differently. This is kind of why I don't want to deal with this, because this gets really confusing. Okay, so that is like way the heck too huge. So we calculated our delta from this, and we applied it to that. Oh, and then you were like completely different units. So this might be a tiles versus pixels thing. You're a double pair. So you're float, float. What do we care about? Well, we know warp mouse is going to be in screen coordinates. So I guess it matters what delta ended up being. Those look like those could be pixels. There's certainly not any fractional units. Although these were a bit large. Am I only doing... No, I'm always doing that. Oh. What about you? That ends here. So the last pointer position should be updating. I mean, maybe that was like the very, very first one. That could be the very, very first one. So that seems like pixels. Of course, maybe. We actually do have to match signs here. Yeah, that seems just as terrible. Wait, am I using... Last screen mouse X. You'd think. You'd think. It's kind of messed up when we actually do this. Int. Those seem like screen coordinates. Oh, last screen mouse X is already adjusted to that position. Yeah, so we'd be trying to undo the movement. Maybe we need to actually not jerk the screen around. Oh? What? Okay, so what if we do nothing? Still, we're somehow able to move. So it's like, So it seems like this is creating movement for itself. Maybe that was the problem I had with Warp Mouse earlier. It was self-visible movement. Wait, I'm not doing any deltas. It's just moving it to its own position. Which you could kind of expect to cancel movement. So it's creating a movement. So every STL Warp Mouse is creating a movement. Okay, so if we're doing it in concert with this, maybe it would cancel out. Because this was, we moved to center, we moved center to there. And we were diffing with last screen view center. So even if we got a movement there, its screen position would be there, and it would be a net zero. Well, now I'm wondering. All right, so this stuff is all new. I guess we're more specifically caring about this. Are we getting zeros? Oh my gosh. So maybe this is why I discarded SDL Warp Mouse. Because it talked to itself. And it's only, in this situation, it's only okay because it's 0, 0. And because we immediately moved the center to compensate. I guess the other stuff I'm doing is about view limits. So because we're moving the center, that works out to a net 0. Now in theory, that should apply. Wouldn't that apply to anything else? So get screen offset. Let screen center player offset, which actually ends up affecting the last screen view center. But maybe that like immediately calls it back. Hmm. Okay, yes, that's an immediate callback. We could use some state to manage that. Oh. So with what I'm doing right now, it's sufficient to cause that to zero out. Well, what am I diffing with? What do I got? What am I diffing with? I'm diffing with last screen view center, but I'm adjusting screen center player offset. That's an H. Last mouse X. Mouse pressed. Mouse released. Do the demo code panel. Mouse already there, no need to warp. Yeah, I had some problem with this. Okay, world to screen. Not ignoring mouse events. Demo code panel. Frame drawer not knitted yet. So it's like he set that up but didn't actually do the ignore. Oh, mouse moved. Seeing the event that triggered the ignore. So that's kind of exactly what I was setting up to do. Why didn't I use this? So for that thing, actually, we've got warp mouse to center, which wanted new positions. Right. Warp mouse to screen pause. Warp mouse to world pause. And we've still got our print going. Was not declared. Warp mouse to center, warp mouse to world pause. Well, we might be able to work in world pause. We'd have to translate where the screen center is. Or, since this stuff is all center, do exactly what this does. Oh? Okay, well, that has very badly... It's like puts me into permanent ignore mode. No. Yeah, we're not seeing the counter movements, but then it just completely breaks. So it's like we put only if it sees that chord. But it doesn't turn off ignore, so it still skips everything. Well, so it gets a screen coordinate, turns it to world. That is in game.h, so we probably have access to it. Same with world to screen. Oh, I was looking for, what do we use? That's just last mouse. Okay, so you're tracking screen coordinates. So what is this doing? If mouse world coordinates, raw screen coordinates, view size, view center. An open source search engine. Do you mean something on the order of a Google? You mean like web search engine? I mean, I'd be surprised if there isn't. Static float, view center X. I mean, that's not a space I know, so I don't really know that I can comment on what's out there, but I'm sure there are pieces of that, if not the whole thing. Set view center position is what. Jump camp. Draw hits that. Flying person. Last screen view center. But I'm not doing last screen view center. Maybe that's something I need to do to change the coordinate translation. But we haven't actually changed the screen view center yet. So the thing I'm trying to figure out is that we do this. Well, what am I subtracting again? We do this. And we get if we've moved the screen, we get a 0. Or rather, if we have set screen center player offset, which I think only gets used in step. Yeah, if you limit but we get an immediate SDL back with 0 if we've offset it like that. So it's a move generated by that warp. But it nets out to a 0 screen position, and I don't see where we've adjusted the things that would actually adjust our position there. Oh, maybe that's exactly it? So those are the screen to world adjusted things. Well, so those are the actual inputs, which I don't think we would have changed. So your float. I think your screen, so you're there. That person's dead. Okay, so early on, we should see Optifine. Optifine? Did it get like merged to the main one? Okay, well, if it actually was better, cool. Okay, so that would have been world position, screen position. How do you need points for that, though? So I would expect to see some zeros when we start doing camera stuff. Okay, so there's my other statement. So world, screen. So this ends up as a 0. What am I diffing against? In X, last screen view center. I guess it's possible other things got called in between. It wasn't a frame. What can update last screen view center? Well, I guess if it's externed, it could be extern. Okay. Oh, no, that's not. Oh, that's an editor. And, oh, man, it's defined in game. That's not too big a deal. Init draw. Show died page. So reconnect page. Yeah, these are all other little pages. We're setting it to 0. Draw frame no update. Init draw. Feels like it should be an init type function. Set the center. Free draw string. Draw pause screen. Okay, maybe not. So something's happening to, well, what is it? What is it? All right, so there's our 0, 0. Both of them are done under the same last screen view center. But the world coordinate has changed. The screen center is different. So we've effectively put it at the last screen view center. So its difference from the center is still 0. And the last screen view center is in world coordinates. So as long as wherever we put it matches whatever we're subtracting from, that next message will wash out. So we had like a last pointer position. Oh, I was setting this to in X, in Y, but then we were moving it. So we get a new delta. What are we moving? If we continue doing that, we're just doing things in a slightly different way. That's that delta. We do have to do that. The position translation. Screen center player offset. So we're adjusting our frame by that much. We are adjusting. We know what its on-screen position is. We know what its world position is. So we move that thing over by that much. We move you over by that much. We're getting an adjacent format. And then we also move you over. Is that right? Last pointer position is in world coordinates. Well, no, if you're in world coordinates, that shouldn't matter. But we gave a warp mouse command. Yeah, it almost accidentally worked before. We're going to get a delta. And my signs might be wrong here. Oh, so this is setting up to not... to kind of ignore that change. So screen center was minus. You were going to, which should effectively give us a minus. I think my sign's going to be backwards here. I don't know if I'm printing out these numbers either. That's something all right. So we want to warp. We want the pointer to move. Maybe it is minus because we're essentially moving it back. But we're moving the screen over. No, still crazy. It might be like an infinite immediate self-feedback cycle. As long as you generate some kind of movement. Zero 4 0 7 0 11 18 29. Yeah, that's a self-feedback cycle. And it's even looking a little bit exponential. Oof, and then wrap around. Okay, so our screen view center which is controlling our that's controlling our translations. I might have to call the set screen view center. Yeah, no, because we're not saying moving it right away. So the delta we're seeing is 4, 7, 11. We're seeing 2014, 2017, 2021. 39, 5, 7, 8, 6. That's weird. We had 14, 17, movement of 7. Doesn't quite seem to match up. 382, 381? What if we got some kind of like rounding error or something? Oh, do I have to deal with different signs in the Y direction here? Set view center position, redo draw matrix, get view center position. What do we use for actual to screen pause? World pause. So view size. No, they're both minus equals. Okay, yeah. Times equal negative. So I'm playing kind of loosey-goosey with screen coordinates and world coordinates. It seems to be relatively simple in this. But, so we've got world to screen and probably screen to world. We need to. Screen center player offset is adjusted. Last screen mouse X is a screen coordinate. So we would essentially do that. Reset it back to where it was. Then I'm going to need wrong way. And I guess if I was getting that wrong, it could have actually messed up the things I was playing around with before too. But it seemed like that could easily get lost there. Because that ignore flag could be set and there wasn't really a way to unset it. All right, under the cold. That's not as jumpy as the recent attempts have been, but it's still way the heck too much. It's not like immediately hitting the wall. Okay, those are some big deltas. Can we find... Yeah, it's kind of all over the place. So those are definitely some cursor near the edge. Which is probably the result of that going wacky. So, we engage camera mode. We immediately have a very, very large delta. Does that make any kind of sense? Oh, because right now... No, because before I would not jump to the center and still got a movement. And that was based on we're setting to the center. Still, I guess I could have been like out of bounds somewhere. Why do we start off with that big movement? I guess it's justified given the coordinates. Oh, you know what? Now we're seeing is flip-flopping. Well, for some reason, we get a pointer event here. The big motion. Screen coordinates pretty much the same. Oh, there's also that. This is what skips all the... Actually, it might be more that. Because I was moving screen center, and then that actually was moving last screen view center. Okay. Problems, but far more manageable problems. Yeah, so we were moving the screen, but not moving the pointer, which is not really what we want. We want the pointer to move. In the world, but do some counter movement on the screen. But that's at least something we have some degree of control over. Alright, so this is just snap it back. Ultimately, this kind of does depend on... Well, does it depend on that? We kind of want to do this... Well, alright. So, because what we've learned here is that we are getting consequent pointer move messages anyway. What I had been afraid of is that I was essentially eradicating any built-up movement if I moved it elsewhere. So we would move the screen center player offset by that. Last pointer position would be world coordinates, which would be affected by the view center. Would it? So if we just did this, and then when we update this screen, we moved the pointer, there's still lots of room for weird feedback effects. So that's setting limits. Not should move camera. That was getting rid of all of the smoothing and possibly also skipping, or whether they did skipping the things that were creating the slowdown in the movement. Last screen. Okay, so this skips all of this smoothing stuff. Which we want to do some kind of smoothing, but last screen view center. If view change, set view center position. So we've already changed last screen view center now. I need to know how much that moved. So we've got dir, and I need to know. Okay, so this is just dead code. View change equals true. Y, X, move step, move step. What's the scope of move step? Ew. Completely local. Show, view change false. Screen target pause. Okay, I want to do, eventually want to do some smoothing. But jumping to target pause may be a bit much. So we need something like no. So that actually that was target. Position, previous position. Actually, I guess this could also be a different delta, although maybe the sign's different. Last pointer position is in world. We're not undoing it anymore. Its world position actually should still be the same. The problem is that we might get a movement here. Maybe it ends up washing out. I'm not sure if this should be, well, the pointer should be counter movement to the movement of this. So we're essentially faking this to wash out the movement that we expect from it. Okay, that's a little bit weird. Okay, so that is being somehow affected by the scroll limits here. So we're still moving the screen center because that's happening in pointer. Might need to like, I think like tracking pointer position. Of course, this is the old code, so I might need to rethink what we're considering as the focus for this. Because we were kind of skipping all this stuff. And there are certain spots or if you're going away from the limits, then you've got, oh, this is in the gap between where it's moving the camera. Okay. Yeah, and that gets awkward. So right now we are like undoing all movement. Well, there's a little bit to that. It's like I want to move out and then have the camera like move to that position without undoing it in world space. Did I skip a step here? Did it just work? Or I jump ahead? That's almost working. strangely enough. Okay, it's not doing anything to the pointer. It's just the pointer is affecting our position. So when we're doing this, we want to have the camera like follow the pointer, which we had working, but it was an immediate jump. That kind of means drawing the pointer to the screen as you, or to the center of the screen as you move the screen towards the pointer. Before, I was doing that with an absolute set. Just move everything immediately there, lock it in. That has some really weird effects. So we track the pointer in world space. So we're moving we're currently getting offsets. We're currently getting pointer move offsets and changing our screen center by that much. And this could be a pure step update thing. Where while that's on, we attempt to pan towards the center. So this is gathering the deltas to move our offset. So it's one-to-one movement. I'm not sure I want that. And I forgot to mark my other spot. I'm not sure which of these it is going to be. In free camera, we have different limits. Target. It kind of gives us a center. Target grid X. Target object pause. That's still like where we are. Target object pause in terms of limits. Camera follows object. Stopped moving. So that's the limiting screen center player offset. So I think we have to do it before that. Last screen edge. There's screen edge push. Screen center player offset. We get a speed. And center player offset. Skip for now. Don't adjust camera. Camera follows object. Not equal camera. Okay. So this is currently based around an object. This is moving. Skip. Oh, when moving, change that. So actually, it kind of takes over this slot. That has a push speed. So that gets turned off. Then we want... this is in direction of movement. Screen center player offset to... no, this is an offset. This is an offset from the player. Not doing that. Push out in front. Current move direction. So actually what we care about is the difference between the screen center, which ends up being affected by that. Last screen view center. And we've actually got like multiple ways to get pointer. There's like a last mouse X, last mouse Y was that gonna be the same units. Alright, so if last screen view center and the pointer is to the right, we want to add to it. So we would do pointer minus last screen view center. Screen mouse. Now this is going to be before the set view center position, so that could get a little weird. No, this is going to be moving the offset. And this is going to be trying to take care of pointer stuff. Yeah, I think this sets a target position and then we do the smoothing. So I guess the directly moving this sort of has a similar effect as just doing the delta, but well, we need to be tracking the pointer position as we go. Wait, are you just equal to... No. Or do we just look at the player position and say our offset should be there? Because if we keep adding this screen delta to the offset, that's not necessarily going to have a one-to-one relationship. So moving the offset with the pointer sort of had the did that give us the idea that we were always, it was effectively tracking the pointer? Where do you get used? Screen target position. Well, the cursor is sort of target position. But we have the view limits, which get applied before that. And this doesn't even get set if we're in VOG mode. Target object position. That's plus the offset. So in our target position, so do we actually want to do this versus this? And then set U to just be, that's where we want to look. So then we limit it and then just plug it back in. Completely overwrites everything else, which is kind of what we're doing. This sets a target, it limits it. We haven't dealt with the pointer stuff. Okay, we may have gotten our coordinates backwards. Or we've got a unit issue. Or that was pointer feedback. It seems to be generally going the right direction. Oh, right. I was using mouse X, mouse Y, which only update on pointer movement. Wait, how is that? Because that was not going to do anything to the pointer yet. That was interesting. So it looked at the spot we were at. Yes, there's no, like, counter movement of the pointer. Like if I just tap it, it kind of looks at the right spot. Right, and then we have other limits coming into play. But we're going to have to adjust our concept of where the... Well, if we start messing with the pointer, we're going to get pointer move messages. So that will sort of take care of itself. And was this... Did we have this... keeping things in place, but it was directly tied to pointer movements before. Now we've got the camera moving by itself. This is not adjusting last mouse X, mouse last Y, which are what we're actually using at the moment. I guess I've got my last pointer. It's certainly bringing it closer to the center of the screen. It's not... It's doing so faster than we're moving, though. Which is probably last mouse. Now, anything else we're depending on last mouse X, last mouse Y. Well, we're going to get movement messages, but that should have fixed it, right? We're not really using the delta anymore. Yeah, we're coming back too fast. Maybe I'm not using... Maybe I'm applying a delta that's not being, like, fully used for screen movement. Or maybe that it is applying the mouse movement underlying in the engine. Which is changing my target position until they meet. So the direction seems right. I mean, you expect it to move counter to the camera. Is my old view center not correct? Because we set the view center to last screen view center. Is it possible I have to do this before we set? That's somewhat better. We're still using the standard camera control. And it's sort of fuzziness. So it doesn't feel good to pan around. Huh. The drift between the two cursors is certainly interesting. They get out of alignment, then they kind of get pulled back. Although it feels like it's pulling back relative to the pointer, relative to the world. Yeah, no, it's actually moving back in the world as well. Yeah, so we're getting some weird stuff there. It's closer to what we want, maybe? But it's like way too laggy. There's clearly something wrong with the way the pointers like diverge and come together. Like we want to change the screen location of the pointer without changing its world location. It might be that the pointer move messages always get generated with the current. If they get generated immediately when calling warp mouse, and it's always going to go through. Whereas, yes, the transformation defined by that. So it either goes through the before transformation or the after transformation. So you might almost have to trace everything through to figure out exactly what you need to do. Oh. Here we go. Maybe. And we don't need a delta. We had our last pointer position, which was a world location. What if we just put the cursor back there? It'd probably end up creating a movement in the world. And unfortunately, we're just about to die. So I might still have to do some of this offset stuff, but I'd have to do the calculations of how much it's going to move to know how much to offset it. Kind of works, but you still see that like bidirectional drift between the system pointer and the internal pointer. Neither of which seem to be quite sticking to a point in the world. As we make our last couple adjustments, fine-tuning adjustments here. And to a certain extent, we are limited by the scroll speeds. That might have to get bumped up a little bit. Some of that, yeah, the music was not synced up. We might almost need to do something like this. To wash out the actual movement that happened. No, we're not reacting to that movement in our code anymore. The problem is the engine and everything else may be reacting to the movement. And moving it in world. Well, no, we set up our transformation. We put it back to there. I wonder if there's just like a little bit of like rounding error or something in that. All right, well, we've done some interesting things here. What was the other thing we did? That gets rid of all the smoothing. Okay. Yeah, so the immediate jump. There's definitely some feedback effects. What were we doing here? We were saying the offset is equal to the difference between our position and the pointer position. So that creates a large jump in the screen. And we move the... We end up doing a pointer move based on that large jump in the screen. And then we attempt to put the pointer back to the same Oh. I think I might see the problem here. And it'll probably be more pronounced there. Doesn't matter when we do world to screen. So last pointer position. Which probably is equal to last mouse at this point. As long as the those callbacks aren't working like interrupts or like immediate callbacks. I'm not really sure how the SDL stuff works. I think it's kind of an event loop. But I'm doing that translation under our new screen view center. So the world position that we were at, what is that? Screen location. And then move the mouse there. But that is going to be a movement. All right, what would we see? Well, we've got our nets here, and the nets there were very, very large. Okay, so we ended it, we hadn't saved. Lots of little things. Now, I don't know which, since we don't have like the immediate counter movement. I can't quite tell which is which. Or the net zeros, or whichever. Negative 12, 13, negative 12, 13. 2707, 2695, 2683. So these are all just being caused by the screen scrolling. And then every once in a while we get a real movement. So screen position is changing. Warps should not be changing world coordinate of the pointer. But all the engine is going to see is the pointer moved in screen terms. Last part doesn't matter, that was all me. I feel like I might have to do something similar to what Jason did, where you say, okay, we expect this kind of offset. It doesn't apply deltas. It gives me absolute positions. So when this comes back, I mean, maybe it could be affected by movements in process. But when this causes a... Well, it is causing a screen position change. Or a world position change. Yeah, if we could differentiate the feedback movements from the real movements, But we're going to get a world space movement. So I would have to have world to screen should translate that to a screen coordinate. The mouse coordinates should come in screen coordinates. And you'd think they would get transferred right back. And most of it doesn't care about mouse movements. Mouse movements was kind of specifically my thing. Now, any scroll would have done that. Oh, well, there's your 0 zeros. Now, here's the problem. Oh. Why is everything offset by 1? And because of the message loop? So I don't know where this comes from. It's a 0. That establishes what our coordinates were. It's like it's after our warp statement. And before the next warp statement. But then the coordinates we passed show up down here. Does it like, well, we're supposed to just like flush the pointer. But like all of these are the kind of 0 movements we'd expect. Because they're probably just holding the key, so we're tracking. But wouldn't you get actual non-warp movements when we start moving around? Well, there's actual movement. 484349. It doesn't even show up. $5,591.90. So this must be sort of going into the SDL system, and then it's putting that up with actual mouse movements. Because these are not resulting in any... They're not resulting in immediate... Man, there's always a message. It's just not what we put in. This is probably a experiment to toss. The last pointer position didn't end up being super useful. That's our jump. We're not using old. Took out all that stuff. So that sets our target position to there. The actual screen target pause gets smoothed, potentially. Yeah, or is it just positionally out of step with the pointer movement, so it doesn't work as well as having something like that in the actual pointer event? I mean, maybe I was moving the mouse and the Y here? It's like those are matching up. Now, previously we were seeing or was that when I called it from the mouse move event, we were getting the exact opposite movement. Well, maybe I can try this some other day. See if we hit in something a little bit better. Alright, ship done with you. That's it for now. I'm gonna come back and see how the worlds are going a little bit later. Meanwhile, thanks for the subs, thanks for the hosts. I guess nothing new to try this week, but we didn't test out the stuff from last week, so that's when I'm usually on. Bye-bye.